Hello, my name is Dr. Nita Knight-Coonley, and I'm here to talk with you in this tutorial about how to select an instrument for your research proposal, dissertation, or clinical needs. Some considerations to keep in mind are whether you'd like to use a quantitative measure, a qualitative measure, or a mixed methods measure. Also, the psychometric properties of the instrument. Is it reliable and valid? And then, is it clinically relevant? And does it meet the practical needs of your particular study or clinical problem? For the purposes of this video, we will discuss the first three items here. What is the difference between a quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods measure? Well, a quantitative measure uses numbers to tell a story. For example, consider the Experiences in Close Relationships revised questionnaire developed by Dr. Fraley and his colleagues in 2000. This questionnaire has 36 items. They measure attachment-related anxiety and attachment-related avoidance. For example, consider the item, I prefer not to be too close to romantic partners. This is a measure of avoidance that's identified on a Likert scale from 1 to 7. The participants will identify with either a 1 for strongly disagree to a 7 to strongly agree, anywhere within that continuum. So they are quantifying with a number the story about how they do relationships. If they, on this assessment, score with low levels of avoidance and low levels of anxiety, they would be said to have a secure, autonomous attachment style. However, if they have high levels of avoidance and high levels of anxiety, they would be said to have a disorganized attachment style. There's several different variations. For a comprehensive discussion of the 4 different attachment styles, I recommend Dr. Tim Clinton and Gary Sibsey's text, Attachments, or the text co-authored with Dr. Sibsey, Redeeming Attachments. Another measure of attachment is called the Adult Attachment Interview, or the AAI. This is the gold standard that provides an attachment classification using both the virtues of qualitative and quantitative assessment. The assessment is an interview that is a semi-structured interview that takes approximately 1 hour, and after the interview is conducted and recorded, it is transcribed, and the transcription is given to a trained rater. These raters have over 80% inter-rater reliability, and they assess this transcript in terms of not only the experiences a participant has, but their state of mind and their internal working models with respect to attachment. So if you were interested in measuring attachment and wanted the qualitative component and qualitative component, you may use the adult attachment interview. Another consideration is the reliability of an assessment. The reliability involves the retestability, or measures the repeatability of an instrument. As my colleague Dr. Rockinson Zapkew likes to use the metaphor of a target. If arrows on a target are gathered around the same location, the same vicinity, and that represents a measure, we would say if it consistently measures things with similar outcomes, then this measure is reliable. So for example, let's look first at test-retest reliability for measuring a stable trait, such as personality or IQ. If you take the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, the MMPI, or another personality assessment today, we would expect that if you take it again tomorrow, you would get a relatively consistent outcome. If you have a completely different personality today than tomorrow, well, some psychologists may joke that that's evidence of multiple personalities disorders or dissociative identity disorder. However, researchers might say that that assessment is not reliable because they're not getting consistent results on that stable measure. Inter-rater reliability looks at the consistency between 2 raters on the same measure. So if I, as a trained rater, was to analyze the adult attachment interview, which takes approximately 5 to 6 hours per assessment, so it can be pretty costly to have done. But let's say I'm assessing an interview, and then one of my colleagues, Clayton Kendrick, who's also a trained rater, assesses the interview. We would 80% or more of the time come up with the same classification. Alternate forms reliability may occur when you have a short form and a long form, and you get consistent results on both. And split half reliability may occur when you split an assessment in half and the 2 outcomes are consistent. For more on this topic, we recommend consulting the text Research Methods and Program Evaluation, Key Concepts, a Study Guide by Knight and Tetro. Thank you, and God bless you on your research.